Me again, Dave Haynes. I'm ringing in here from Canada, or I guess I'm zooming in from Canada. We're now going to talk about digital solutions for reopening. This has been a pretty dominant topic in the digital signage space for the last several months, because everyone globally has been trying to wrestle with, all right, if our businesses are closed, how do we safely reopen? And a whole bunch of companies have introduced or developed products and services that are all kind of built around the idea of how do we safely reopen. So I'm going to go around to each of the panelists here and ask them to introduce themselves, what they do, and then we'll kind of jump right into talking about what makes sense. And I'll start with Beth Warren, who needs to take herself off of mute.
I am off mute. Yeah. Hi. Thanks for having me, Dave, and others. I'm delighted to be here. My name is Beth Warren. I work for a company called Creative Realities. We're a US-based creative technology / digital signage company end to end. So we're able to design and deploy content and CX and journeys, as well as we are able to deploy and support after we've installed. And I run marketing for the company. In the evenings, during the day, I run our retail practice. And I am—
What do you do when you're sleeping?
And when I'm sleeping, well, that's probably 2 hours. Maybe once in a while I'm on the bike behind me. Yes, I do worry. I do worry for us, for our industry, and certainly for our retail clients with whom I'm working to figure out how to safely reopen, and then what happens beyond that. So that's what I'm doing. I've been with the company for 8 years, and steeped in retail behaviors and practices around technology and in environments.
Right. Okay, Todd.
Hi, I'm Todd Dettman. I'm the executive director with Shop Environments Association. We are the combination of a merger a few years ago between the Association for Retail Environments and Popeye. So there's a lot of chapters across the world. We're a global association that are still known as Popeye, so you can recognize by area. We represent the environments piece. Our goal is to enhance the customer experience through store fixtures, POP, retail design, visual merchandising, and what we're seeing in this reopening is a lot of combination of digital with traditional POP and fixtures. And the digital end of technology is really playing a large role in the reopening and the safety, and in very inventive ways to improve the customer experience.
Okay, great. Thank you. It's terrific to have somebody on here who has the perspective of end users. We've obviously got a lot of vendors here, which is important, but we're all trying to sell to your community. Tobias the first.
Am I the first?
Yes. Well, I'm talking to you first, so.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the invitation, first of all. So my name is Tobias Schwerten. I'm one of the managing directors from Exact Solutions. And we manufacture products and solutions for the professional AV industry. And with the current pandemic we're in, we started to investigate more into disinfection technologies, and we came up with some UVC disinfection technologies. So that's one of the things that we work on a lot right now to get those into the market. Yeah.
Thank you. Right. Danielle Souza.
Hi. So I'm Danielle Souza. I'm Movik CEO. Movik is part of Edigma Group. It's an holding with 3 companies: Edigma, Displax, and Movik. At the Edigma Group, we focus on digital out-of-home experiences, and each company has its own expertise area and complements each other. So 2 years ago, we decided to create this Movik company. And the challenge was to design the best customer journey platform to fill the gaps we knew that existed in this area. So basically we have the privilege to select the team, design all the architecture, develop and launch the fresh and solid product. So now we are facing new challenges, and we don't know how to deal with that. Basically, we are learning what will be the next customer journey experiences and how to deal with the next challenges.
Great, thank you. I'm going to say Tobias, but Tobias, so Mr. Henning.
We would be fine as well. Thank you, Dave, and thanks for having me. Tobias Henning from X-Place, located in Germany. We're a system integrator for different solutions throughout the retail sector. So we're handling digital signage solutions, electronic pricing solutions, kiosk systems for our customers worldwide. And yeah, at the moment, we're looking for solutions that enables the whole retail sector to get into a more, hopefully successful future. And we're working for having a look at the whole customer journey. And that's what I'm doing actually together with our customers for the last 10 years for the X-Place company. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Konstantin.
Hey everybody, my name is Konstantin Ewald. I work for Xovis. Xovis is a Swiss-based technology company that provides 3D sensors and software for people counting and people flow management. We have 3 verticals: airports, retail, and public transport, and I'm responsible for business development and strategy within our retail segment. Traditionally, you would have seen a lot of our sensors in apparel retail, to analyze customer flow and conversion rates. But especially during those times, we've seen record demand from the grocery industry. So basically all of the big grocery retailers started introducing some people counting technology to really manage occupancy in their stores, wherever you have regulations around how many people you can actually have in the store at the moment.
Interesting. All right, I'm going to start with Todd, and then we'll just kind of open it up and have hopefully a great lively discussion around all this. Todd, because you're coming at this from the lens of end users and the ecosystem that supplies into those end users in terms of fixturing and everything else, what are you hearing? What do retailers need to reopen versus what maybe vendors are trying to sell them, which I'm not sure they always hook up?
Well, I guess we've always focused on the 6 trends we've said in past communications about what is shaping the future of retail, and we've been working all of our information against those trends. But really, what this has done is put safety in front of all of that. So the customers have really changed the way that they look at going out and shopping right now. And the first and foremost thing is safety and being easy to get in and out, and really looking at different ways of shopping and what can be applied to the stores to make me feel safer. Things like limited touch and limited interpersonal interactions, which is kind of the main things that I see digital really addressing right now. As far as the experience goes, we've always said that most important to the retailer is continuous adaptation, the ability to change to the consumer's needs on the fly. And right now we're seeing the perfect example of that with all of the technology and the signage and the traffic regulation type things that are going into the stores, not only with the technical end of things, but also with POP and the regular signage. So it's really about customers feeling safe about going shopping right now.
To the larger group, are these technologies being adopted, or are they being sold? Because I certainly see all the pitches for these things, but I have not seen a lot of case studies or reports saying, here's this thing in use here. So you guys are selling them. Are people buying them?
Well, I'm happy to take that up. So far, we have around 130,000 sensors in the field. So as I said before, they usually have been used a lot in apparel retail. Now we really have seen a lot of demand from grocery. So within, I don't know, the last 2 or 3 months, basically every large German grocery chain has invested in this kind of technology. So for all the big discount retailers that have around 2,000 stores, they rolled the technology out throughout all the stores. I feel like a lot of retailers are investing in this kind of technology now, and they are still struggling with what are we going to do after we're back to normal? How can we make use of this, especially of this investment, once we don't need it anymore for safety or regulation reasons?
Are they investing because they're being mandated to do so, or because doing capacity counting and control at a gateway into a store is enormously labor intensive and therefore costly, and this saves them money?
I think both. It kind of depends on the country. Of course, in the countries with high labor costs, I think it creates a lot of efficiency. But then also in other countries like the US, for example, we've seen demand really just correlating with regulation. So now that there's, for example, mandatory face mask regulation to wear a face mask within stores, retailers are now looking for solutions to monitor that also automatically. But that's more driven by regulation sometimes, I feel, than by the pure necessity.
Daniel, I'm curious because queue management has been around for many, many years. And we think about it in your passport office and your motor vehicle branch, that sort of thing. But this whole situation has really elevated the requirement and the profile of queue management for all kinds of different applications, right?
Right. What we noticed was that we needed to increase the range of tools we put available to the market. So the truly omni-channel customer experience so made us to design new tools like phone applications, WhatsApp queuing registration, etc. We needed also to take care about the security. Like we are developing kiosks to measure the temperature, to know if the person has a mask, to take care of, to disinfect the hands, and only after that we allow to register in the queue. We are making integrations with people counting sensors like Xovis because our systems work match perfectly. So Xovis tell us that we can enter or not, but we need to queue or not. So we can make automatic decisions in the systems to make queues or not. But everything is new, and we know that will not solve the problems only making tools. We need to have great tools, and we are prepared with very solid platform and very organic that allow us to move fast in different directions. But the problems we are discussing now are more about humans than properly technology, more about human sciences than IT. So we are not designing experiences based on guessing what will happen. Our approach is more about to learn and deliver solutions very fast, measure and improve. So we are maintaining a backlog with our partners and customers, sharing information and finding ways to be one step forward in each moment, because we don't know how deep this crisis will change the behavior in people. So we need to just have an agile approach to decide what to make next.
Right. I'm hearing a pretty common thread amongst all of you that this has to be about problem solving. You can't just say, here's our thing, please buy it. You need to go in and really kind of probe to figure out what their challenges are and then try to address them. What do you guys think?
So I think each solution has a certain impact, a positive impact, right? But what we should always keep in mind is the marketing factor behind it, right? So it will make people more safe to go to public spaces, and this is a factor that we always should keep in mind beside the functionality behind it. And that's I think one of the sales arguments in the end.
Tobias?
Well, that's actually what we experience and what we see now in the market. In the first weeks, a lot of people in the market were only searching for a quick solution and a pretty straightforward thing to install fast and run fast. And now that's not enough. We need solutions that do more, that collect data I can use, that is an additional advertising device in my entrance, for example. So all the COVID solutions, let me put it like this, become now really business solutions that should, in the best case, have a sustainable, positive impact on my business, and that's quite a good development, I guess.
Sounds like you have to really think about your positioning. Beth?
No, I think that's very true. The business intelligence is really what's fueling safe space. And it's one thing to communicate to consumers that when you're coming in, the space is safe to sort of dwell and shop, but it's another when you take the learning from that and you apply it to new ways. We're getting asked by clients, okay, so temperature screening devices and, anonymous analytics and artificial intelligence is great for this period of the pandemic and COVID, but how do I apply that for the future? And those types of tools, if you take a sort of a look out over the horizon, they can be repurposed, because if you're recognizing folks as they're coming in, you might be able to remember them and speak to them, one-on-one in certain contexts in the journey a little bit later on. So being able to solve the problem today and keep customers, shoppers feeling safe coming in, whether it be curbside pickup, buy online, pickup in store, that sort of set of experiences, or later on when the journey is more indoor related, especially in the winter, by the way, because the winter is approaching, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. And, how does that technology then pivot to meet customers and shoppers where they're at? They might not be willing to dwell and to sort of browse and discover as long as they were in the, pre-COVID, but if we can use technology to help them get what they need and get on the way more quickly and in a more personalized way, I think that will help technology grow with the customer needs.
It seems like we're kind of backdooring because of this crisis into the use of analytics that so many companies have been trying to sell into retail for many, many years, a decade plus, and mostly getting pushback saying, yeah, that's interesting, but now it's a real demand now. Yeah, because you've got all these sensors and everything else that you can apply, and there's all this rich data, and you can now
new uses of software that actually connect to standard CMS software tools too. So it sort of delivers a whole other layer of intelligence that we perhaps haven't seen before, or clients haven't been as open, to your point, to taking a look at.
Todd, have you found that your community has this thirst for data insights and all that, or is it still something that, yeah, down the road we'll do that?
Well, I think two things. One, I think this whole situation has sped up the need for technology, or where retailers were once saying, yeah, that's interesting, but now they're saying, well, let's get it in here because they're being pushed into implementing technology and changing the way they're thinking. So I think that it's speeding up kind of that process. The other thing is ultimately, the way we see, the future of retail, it's all about the consumer experience. And, if you want them to have a good experience, whether it's in the store or online or both, whatever the touch point is, you have to think about that now. And as you're implementing technology today for safety reasons, the retailers are also looking at how do I make the in-store experience a wow experience. For example, the implementation of big screens in stores like Nike Town, where you're using live sporting events as the backdrop to the certain section of the store to give it kind of that live dynamic, along with the standard fixtures or in the design of the store. You're making it kind of more dynamic. Now, does that have anything to do with safety today? Probably not, but there's those technologies that will be applied in the future, because retailers are business people, and they're going to want that great consumer experience.
One of the challenges I would imagine for all of you guys is to find those clients who have budget. I would imagine with, given the way this pandemic has gone to date, that retail sales are down pretty significantly unless you sell groceries or hand sanitizers or something. What are they telling you in terms of this would be great, but we just don't have the money? Or is it more a case of we can't afford this, but we have to?
If they had budget before, chances are they still have budget. We've seen that. If budgets were tight for these types of things before, they're even tighter now. That's just sort of one rule of thumb we've been seeing, especially for fashion retailers who are opening new stores or on track to open new stores. But they are factoring in different technologies. They've shown a tendency to be open and have an interest to different technology touches now during COVID than they might have been open to, considering pre. But for the most part, budgets are super, super, super tight. So that's quite frustrating. It'd be interesting to hear how what the gentleman
yeah, that's your U.S. perspective
as well. That's just a U.S. perspective. Yeah, exactly.
And Canada probably as well. But what's happening in parts of Europe?
So I agree with Beth. So it's the same thing that we experience. So customers are very interested in the product, but end customers are quite, let's say, conservative and careful with their investments. So what we have seen that it's easier to argue when you sell like an added value. So when you do people counting, for example, if you sell the added value of advertisement, it will make sales easier. And for our air sanitizing product is similar. So it's not just about COVID, it's about any kind of flu that will come in the future. So it's quite difficult to sell a product that just helps for a short time, like a quick bursting fire or something like this. There must be like more sustainability.
Agree. I think investments in technology need to be justified by either positive impact on revenue, of course, that might be by increased customer experience or luring shoppers into your store through certain marketing activities, or some kind of technology that helps the retailer act more efficiently. Because as you said earlier, Dave, I think stationary retail has not gotten easier in this crisis in general. Customers just spend less on non-essential goods. They don't travel or go on shopping sprees, and a lot of customers switch to online shopping. So I still feel that some stationary retailers realize they might need to invest in technology to just keep up. Maybe it takes another year for some budgets to open up again, because otherwise it might be getting worse for stationary retail.
Todd spoke at the start around safety and health safety being paramount. Does that reshape what we think of as customer experience right now in a retail environment? Is that more important than the wow factor and, oh my God, this store is amazing looking? It's more, I feel safe here.
I think it does. I think for right now, Dave, that's really, really important. Just as we're doing social distancing, we have to think about the store as a way to facilitate shopper distancing, and having the right amount of space between fixturing and visual merchandising, being able to have digital tools that are experienced in like sort of one or two ways. One for the sales associate to keep them on point, and also for the shopper to be able to utilize their mobile, for example, in new ways in the journey. So thinking about the store, not just as, hey, let's chuck as much as we possibly can and let's bling it out, but perhaps let this be an opportunity to unbundle and to make it less complex and less cluttered than in the past. So, I'm excited about that because I think it will give way to smaller footprints, more efficient journeys and pathways, and perhaps an experience in an environment where people can actually really breathe. So I think that that there'll be only good to come out of this.
Daniel, you look like you wanted to jump in.
Yeah, I think after the budget that is short, there is also the steps that the customers are giving. They are very careful with what they will change. In what concerns to our company, in queue management, the way people queues, it's a very sensitive point. So every time they want to change or to try something, usually it's very controlled environment. We try it in very controlled environments just to measure the impact. So I can sum it's not only the budget, but also they are very careful in the steps they are doing. I think it's a good thing anyway, but yeah, it takes more time to sell something or to implement any rollout.
Right. Any other thoughts?
I think somebody else said it earlier about, the importance of the marketing or the branding, that, I'm seeing a lot of advertisements from major retailers that focus mainly on their responsibility as the retailer. And that wow factor is kind of taking the back seat as far as messaging goes, but it'll come back. So I think just right now, priority is on safety.
Agreed.
All those other trends are going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, me too. So I think all the measurements that we do or the governments do, they will lower the risk step by step, right? So wearing a mask will lower the risk. Social distancing will lower the risk. Limiting the numbers of persons in a room will lower the risk. And I've seen a lot of really good innovations in the last month in our industry, which is, if we try to find something positive about the current pandemic, then it's the way how we behave as companies and bring up innovations that haven't been there before. So,
and also working together in new ways as well, because we might not have been able to collaborate without this sort of sense of someone's looking over my shoulder or it's competitive.
Yep.
So I'm particularly excited about the collaboration opportunities that we've experienced, especially as an integration company, bringing in new partners and working together in new ways, which has been exciting. Even though, of course, we're in scary times, doing new, fresh things together has been one of the satisfying aspects of this.
Yeah, I think just about every vendor has talked on endlessly about APIs for the longest time, and now
we can do something with them.
Well, we have to, because we have to integrate with all these other systems like
Without
access control
question.
systems and camera systems and everything else that
And we're ready for it.
On and on about, but now you have to.
We are online
so
now.
it's forcing
I
it.
have to.
All right. I want to thank all of you for spending some time with me. We've got to kind of roll on to the next thing. We have a tight schedule, but very, very interesting discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Yes.
Fantastic. It was really fascinating panel and always great insights to see.